Spine, and this is my truth.
Greetings, awesome ones. This is our truth, and we are sharing our truth with the world to connect love. 4 years ago, we started an organization called Love a Nation. Love a Nation is designed to spread love across the land. Our mission is to show anyone we meet how awesome and amazing they are. Over the past years, we have given love notes in 26 different states, including the Las Vegas Strip twice. In all of our giving, never have we encountered love return to us on limitless levels until now. 64 now days ago, an exit sign entered our lives. On February 4th, 2018, Super Bowl Sunday, number 52, our arrows were traveling back from Chicago, Illinois to Pueblo, Colorado on an unplanned trip, attempting to escape life's requests. However, they wanted to make it home as soon as they could before our number 7 arrow, Aris, was hosting this year's family fiesta. Her team, the Eagles, were on the field for the first time since she had become a fan. Before she could make what would have been our Sunday celebration, arrow number 5 of 15 slid on black ice, losing control of the vehicle, spinning into an exit sign while she was exiting the freeway in Lexington, Nebraska. The exit sign hit the side door, busting the window and entering the vehicle. The sign hit one of our most selfless parts of our body, our 19-year-old arrow, number 7, astonishing divine Aris, who was laying sound asleep on the second row against the van door. 5 minutes before the accident, my wife and I were sitting at the table having our tea and crumpets, what we called our morning ganja enlightening sessions with tea, when the phone rang. It was our arrows videoing us on their drive, showing us how the snow was rapidly falling around them. We told them to get in belts, get off the phone, and drive safely. As we hung up, we both felt the same gut feeling and that something was happening. She said nothing to me, and I said nothing to her. She walked one way, I walked another. As I fought back tears, convincing myself that I was overreacting and nothing was going to happen to them, and I was being my usual overbearing, mothering self, I walked back into the kitchen to find my wife in full tears. She had heard sirens in her talk with love and seen an ambulance. As we were both in panic mode, the phone rang again. This time, it was Ray, our number 6, screaming and crying, telling us that Reese was seriously hurt. As we gathered our things in a suitcase, another almost tragedy was occurring. A trucker pulled up at the time of the crash and invited our number 8 daughter, who was 18 years old, and my grandbaby, who was 2, to get in his truck to stay warm while they waited for the ambulance because the exit sign had knocked the window out and it was snowing and freezing. So to our knowledge, they both got in the truck but never got out. We were all focused on Aris. We didn't realize the trucker had pulled off and was nowhere in sight. Here we all are in a full panic for the second time in 11 minutes. Where's my daughter? Where's my granddaughter? I shouted for 10 minutes straight while Ray was on the phone with 911. All I saw were missing posters with their faces smeared across, while my wife's thoughts immediately went to Laura Saxon, a local Denver mother who has been looking for her daughter, Kelsey Shelling, for the last 5 years with no avail. Kelsey, who was pregnant with her first child, baby Kay, disappeared following a meeting with her boyfriend, who has since been arrested for her murder. We got a 10-minute look at what that strong, gracious woman endures daily. As the 911 operator informed us that they were all at the hospital in Lexington, Nebraska, our panic shifted as the doctor was on the other line with his findings. We were told that Aris suffered a L5, L6 injury to her spine, and they had to airlift her to Kearney, Nebraska for emergency surgery that was to fuse her spine back together. On our ride to Kearney, we were now informed that she had a C5, C6 severe spinal cord injury. She can't feel her body from the neck down. She may never walk again. She will be a quadriplegic. We arrived at the ICU department at Kearney, Nebraska, February 4th at about 8-ish p.m., a few hours after she had come out of her first of 3 surgeries. She had to stay heavily sedated so she wouldn't move because her spine wasn't stable, and the surgery that was the next morning would determine how complete she would be. As a mother who just drove hours to get to her baby's side, I was not about to listen to some overbearing yet loving nurse tell me to get some rest because tomorrow, when she wakes up from the second surgery, is when she will need us. After Robert explained for the third time, this time a little firmer, yet never losing his kind and compassionate aspect from a father's point of view, we need her to stay still, and you all are getting her worked up. He took us all around to the computer and showed us what we were doing. Her heart rate was racing and she was getting overexcited. He told us while trying to help her, we could hurt her. So we left out. We must skip over this night's because it's still a little cloudy. That morning, bright and early, Dr. Samuels came to get a wreath for surgery that Dr. Vader would perform. For 5 hours, my wife walked and talked to people in the hallways and updated our family on what was happening. My thoughts were all over the place, and I was praying I would not faint on this nicely vacuumed floor. It was our number 10 Errol's birthday. As I remembered that small detail, I immediately went into a panic, thinking about a family who was near and dear to our hearts. Devin Clark and his beautiful family. His mother, Heather, and I met when our babies were starting school together. Her mother, Mrs. Poole, was 4 of our children's kindergarten teacher. The thoughts of them rushed into my mind as I immediately said a prayer for Heather, who had just lost her firstborn son to senseless gun violence on her baby boy's birthday. I couldn't stop the tears from streaming. The next few days were numbing and a complete blur. Reese was breathing on her own. Her lungs were later to collapse, requiring her to go back on the ventilator, and her eyes were open. She had no voice, but we could and would for the next 30 days read her lips. This was a more challenging way for her to communicate with us. Through the next few weeks, we endured a string of kindness along the way. While enduring sleepless nights, very long and hungry days, the staff at Good Samaritan noticed that we forgot to apply our own mask first and began to assist us with loving ourselves. These people of all race, gender, and aura rallied around us. They cried, laughed, and prayed with us. They fed us, brought us clothes, because we were 8 hours from home with no family in sight. In the darkest days of our lives, this family of hospital staff held us together while we pulled them together. Team love spreading. In the 38 days we were in ICU at Good Sam, we formed relationships with people we never imagined we would, while other relationships in our lives were ended abruptly. While at the hospital in Nebraska, an eviction notice was placed on our family-owned home that we have shared with family for many years. When we spoke to them standing in the middle of ICU, they informed us that they couldn't wait to see what the outcome would be. They informed us that our things would be removed because bills still needed to be paid. We couldn't change anything from Nebraska, so we accepted the fact that this exit sign entering our lives has severely injured our arrow, wounded our family, destroyed our only transportation, and caused unexpected homelessness. By the time we arrived at Craig Rehabilitation Hospital, our now former home had been emptied of our things and boarded up. We now had the task of informing Craig, whose requirement was to have a place to exit when it's time to leave the program, that we were homeless and searching for a new home. Our new home search has been challenging because wheelchair accessibility in all areas is our major requirement. We have never had the task of considering the width of doors and what the shower will have to accommodate. We have been unable to run our businesses effectively from ICU, causing us to apply for jobs in the Denver area. We are currently searching for jobs in the cannabis industry as we race this 6-week clock in our May 16th graduation date from Craig. We have 1 med badge down and have sent out countless resumes for employment. 21 hands delivered and 87 plus Indeed applications later, we are still waiting for the call. My first choice would be Simply Pure Dispensary. I would love the full Colorado cannabis experience while working with Wanda James and learning from an experienced woman of color, and to cook infused foods with Scott Durant is a dream waiting to happen. Simply Pure was the very first dispensary I left my resume at. We are striving to work in the cannabis industry because we know the plant is to be a miraculous healer. Our goal is to journey through each step with hands-on learning and teachings of the effects of cannabis and how the healing will happen in our daughter's spinal cord injury. We are in search of fellow researchers of this plant and its effects on people with different abilities related to the spinal cord. We believe that the more research that is done, the more healing that will be able to happen in our nation. We are calling for doctors, scientists, cannabis connoisseurs, ganja researchers, and lovers of this plant. Together, we will learn and teach each other how to manage pain, depression, and many other issues our daughter and others may be facing on this journey. We have watched this villainized plant heal many diseases from epileptic seizures to gall-sized cancer causing cysts on breasts to ADHD and more. This plant restores and balances the mind, body, and spirit. Our plan is to obtain 3 more badges later this month for a variety of family business in the cannabis industry. We are currently seeking any homeowners, dispensary owners, or anyone who could be of assistance or point us in a direction of assistance for employment, housing, along with any assistive or adaptive equipment that a Reese might need. We are currently working to write and release 3 books. The first one, Team Love Heals Divine Spine, The Journey of Us, and how one exercise from 10 different perspectives from a 6-year-old to 2 mommies changed the lives of so many people.
Love Hills. Divine Spine.
I am divine. You are divine.
We are all divine.
Team Love Heals Divine Spine, written by Bobby Elaine Lombardi, and a little assistance from Ebony Lee Lombardi.